So here I am, back out on Burns Road, and getting some time in when I can to test out the kind of terrain. Like today is really strange. It's really really nice out with no wind, and as you can tell, everything's still rather frozen. But the sun's really warm, so spots of the ground are kind of muddy and wet, while other spots are clearly still frozen. So it's nice to kind of test out all this different terrain. And speaking of testing terrain, I'm also out here testing out these new mounts that I got. And I added these steel kind of bevel hookups, so that way I don't have to worry about plastic failing me like I did on this old one. And I was actually kind of in a busy road when this thing decided to snap off. Ooh, look at this cool shot now I have. Well, alright, I'll admit, the shot's really not that great. It's one of the things I'm learning about what I should be doing. The angle should be more forward and kicked back. But you get the idea. I'm going over this ice, which as I kind of go through it, I kind of realize I don't really know how deep this ice is or what's below it. Like here, again, it being weird, there's ice on top and kind of mud weirdness underneath it. And even though the terrain is kind of varied and kind of bizarre, it's not the reason why I got a flat out of this event. No, that was thanks to a product called slime. Slime made it so I couldn't use my tire valves anymore, and I couldn't properly maintain the air pressure and got a pinch flat out here, and it was okay because I have been needing to do some other tire maintenance. So actually that's the tire I'm out here riding around with, which was probably to my benefit slightly because it's a bit wider when it's like that bald. Anyways, another thing I'm testing out here is a new tripod, which I have to admit there's really nothing fancy about this tripod, like any other tripod for the most part. But I'm also still getting used to like setting up things to have interesting shots, and actually the camera I'm also getting used to using for my kind of fancy camera is this Canon EOS M50, which I just learned when doing a little bit of research that it actually has this little pop-up flash. So, I really have no background in photography or cinematography or anything like that. It's just been a hobby I've been doing for years. But actually, kind of thinking about it more, I kind of did graduate high school using music videos and stuff that I edited together. So I guess I kind of have a background in this stuff. But really, it's just trial and error, putting stuff up here, using different angles to try to create more interest. A shot that, for the most part, if it was just a POV, or just this shot as you see, it's really not the most interesting shot. So, still a lot of learning curve on how to use the equipment in different ways. Also, like learning how to use the equipment is using, like, maintaining the batteries and whatnot out here, which is what I'm doing now, is swapping out the batteries because GoPros hate the cold. And to keep them charged, in my one panner here, I keep this battery bank. It's actually a pretty nice one. It's got a nice solid metal case around it and blah, blah, blah. But what's cool about it, not only does it charge my batteries, it also is hooked up to my auxiliary light, and from another flip of the switch, turns on this power source underneath this rear kind of rack, and it starts charging it off the Super Cub, which normally I'd have it running for that. Thanks, Felix. It's been a minute since I've been out to Burns Road, and I was hoping I would find this spot, actually. It's kind of a dugout spot. I think the DNR did this on purpose, so it's kind of steep and kind of interesting area for a shot. And no, there's not a lot of bugs, or I'm really itchy. I'm actually trying to help evaporate the sweat off my head. It's getting a little warm out right now. So one of the problems that shooting GoPros on adventures like this is it's really hard to convey when something's steep. And I'm trying to figure out how to use camera angles and maybe multiple angles to convey going past something steep to people watching it, and me when I watch it later. And it's not bad. it's a work in progress, and I don't want to go the other way because there's actually tricks you can do to kind of make it look even steeper, and I don't want to like cheapen it in any way. So I think this one actually, certain elements were better than others, but it wasn't that bad. Like, this is a much better angle than the other shot I had earlier with these new mounts. I really like this shot quite a bit. Not only does it have a lot of action going by with the chain and everything, you see how dangerously close my feet are to the ground. And I have to admit, especially when I'm doing city riding, when I'm turning, I end up dragging my foot quite often. So if you've been paying attention, like I said, about the weird weather, even it being kind of cold but yet warm because the sun's getting kind of toasty, the ground is also constantly changing, and even the snow structure is getting kind of funky. Everything went from like kind of a crusty, crunchy snow, I guess, to kind of a soft, squishy, wet snow. This is a really unusual spot. Even though to the left you can see it kind of drops off to an area that's clearly like for runoff. Even the spot I'm on now is practically a marsh. That's scary. So there's puddles like that up ahead. There's a really big one over there. I don't know how well you can see it. We'll get a little closer. And I gotta jump over the snow blindly. And there could be a thing like this underneath it. So I'll have to keep that in mind. I figure this is a good spot to kind of, reset the batteries. And again, trying to evaporate the sweat off my hair. But here I have left. And it's kind of a neat spot right here. So I figured, this is as good as any other spot to take a quick leak. No, not really. I thought it looked kind of funny when I was doing the editing, so I thought I'd leave that piece in there. But not realistically, I really don't know what I was doing over there. And now it's time to turn around. Go back over this sketchy snow. Just don't know what's below that sketchy snow. So, foolishly, I think it's a good idea to follow my tracks back, even though I heard some ice breaking. So, obviously, things went very well. Kind of like this. This is... I don't know why I chose this camera angle for thinking about things breaking behind me. Again, this is why I'm out here. It's all a learning process. And it's very difficult to find any kind of like beaching point. It's almost all shelved, so it's like really, really difficult once the wheel gets back there to kind of get it able to climb out. I'm afraid of all the snow now. And what's also kind of nice about doing editing when learning how to do all this stuff from scratch, not just the editing, but all the riding and like exploring on snow like this, is that, again, why am I wanting to stick with my line? I should really go to the left, and I think I kind of do here at one point in time, but you see all the reeds and stuff that's kind of telling me, hey, this is probably safe passage this way. But oh no, let's just go this way, and almost crash through some ice. It's... I don't know. Again, it just seemed sensible at the time, like, well, that was safe passage going this way, I should follow it back, but I should not do that. In hindsight, always look for a safer line if you know the line you took was already getting kind of sketchy. Again, not the best extra camera angle here. You couldn't tell, my tire just kind of slipped out from underneath me and shot me backwards towards this little, I don't know, kind of ditch of water, I guess. Luckily, it really wasn't that bad, but like I had mentioned earlier, all the ground's just getting weird. The snow now is really, really soft. All the dirt now that's exposed is wet and like slimy practically, and there's not much ice on things, and if it is, it's very, very thin. And that's about it. I obviously have to get home yet, but really nothing much to report there. It was pretty easy riding. I think on the next episode, I'm going to cover pretty much all the ins and outs of my little Honda Oddball here, and kind of go through some of the stuff I've got packed. And I think that'll probably be the last chance I'll have to do any kind of videoing stuff before I get back to do a ton of editing. I'll also go through all the stuff I've stripped off and either just left off or have replaced since I've bought this little Honda Super Cub. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to keep up with the adventure to come. Thank you, and take care out there. Bye.